Well, good morning. Our reading this morning is from Daniel 1, verse 21. It's just a single sentence and a short one at that. And Daniel was there until the first year of King Cyrus. Where is the there the author is talking about? Well, it's the courts of Babylon. It's the seat of government. And so Daniel was in the seat of government until the first year of Cyrus the Great. It's a short sentence, but we shouldn't miss the implication that the author wants to get across to us. You see, the prophet Jeremiah had prophesied that God was going to judge Israel and he would send them into exile for 70 years. Daniel went with the first wave of exiles in 606 BC. 536 BC, Cyrus the Great comes to power in Babylon. Now, Cyrus the Great, that's 70 years, and in the first year of Cyrus the Great's reign, he sent the first wave of Jews back to Jerusalem. So Daniel was there over the 70-year course of time where God had prophesied judgment, but God had prophesied return to Israel. Daniel was there for the whole period of that prophecy, and he saw not only the exile, but he saw the fulfillment of God's faithful promise. Isn't that amazing? I mean, it's amazing that he was there for 70 years, but it's amazing that he gets to see the whole sweep of what God was doing. And throughout the story of Daniel, we'll see situations where Daniel needs God to intervene on his behalf, personally, and to shut the mouths of lions, to be in the fiery furnace with them. And God comes and is faithful to him as a person, and we can rely on the faithfulness of God to us as people, as individuals. But the bigger picture that we need to see that's going on behind the scenes is that God is faithful not just to individuals, but to his people. He has a people that he loves and that he is drawing together, and he is very faithful to that people. See, we can easily forget that Jesus didn't just die for individuals. Jesus died for a people, for a bride, for a body, for a church, for those who would be together as his own new nation in that sense, the one that he would be king over. And so we get to be part of that. But in our Western culture, in our Western context, which is full of individualism and self-centeredness, we sometimes are tempted to put ourselves at the center of God's purposes, or to feel upset with God when we don't seem to be at the center of his purposes, when he seems to be doing other things. We need to understand that when we come into Jesus, we are part of God's mighty purposes to have a people belonging to his own self. Once we were not a people, but now you're the people of God. We belong to God as a people together. And for every single one of us, God brings us into his family with purpose, with a plan. There is purpose for your life. As you come to meet Jesus, there is purpose for you. He has things written over your life that you might not have no idea of. In fact, you may not even be able to see them in the context that you're in, from the perspective that you have. I wonder to what degree Daniel would have seen his life in the context that we see it in now. Looking back thousands of years later, his voice, his prophetic words, who he was as a man, reverberate through history. Incredible story. Amazing. God has a purpose for your life that he wants to fulfill. And if you will walk in faithfulness towards God, just as you stand in the faithfulness of God, you will see God use you in ways that you might look back from eternity and say, now I understand. With the security of knowing that God has this overarching purpose for his people, his bride, this people from every nation, tribe and tongue, that we will be together with for all eternity, why don't you take a moment this morning just to thank God for his people, for the people in your life, for the people that God has brought to you, and thank him for your purposes, for the things that he's written into your heart and over your life, to be part of this great people of God. Why don't you rejoice in this bridegroom who has this beautiful bride of which you are a part this morning?